All right, today we're going to talk about something that's really shaken up how developers build apps, GraphQL. Basically, it's a whole new way to think about APIs, a really popular alternative to the old school Rust approach. So let's dive in. To really get what GraphQL is all about, you just have to hang on to this one simple idea. It perfectly explains the problem it was built to solve. Seriously, keep this in your head because it's going to make everything else click into place. So what was the problem it was trying to solve? Well, for years, developers have been dealing with this headache, really, called overfetching. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You're getting just way too much data. More than you ever asked for. Okay, so let's go back to our food analogy. Think of a traditional REST API, like a set menu at a restaurant. You order the burger and you get the whole deal. The bun, the patty, the lettuce, all of it. Maybe you only wanted the patty. Doesn't matter. Too bad. You get the whole thing. And what that means for your app is it's just downloading and chewing through a ton of junk it doesn't need. And that, of course, just slows everything down. Oh, and it gets even better. Or, worse. Let's say you need a couple of different things, right? Like you want a user's name and you want to see their recent posts. Well, with REST, that often means you have to make multiple trips back to the kitchen. You hit one API for the user's info, then a completely different one for their posts. It's just clunky, inefficient, and honestly, it's kind of a pain. And this is where GraphQL comes riding in to save the day. So if REST is that rigid, you get what you're given set menu, GraphQL is the glorious all-you-can-eat buffet. You are in total control of what goes on your plate. And look, this isn't some brand new fly-by-night idea. This thing was actually born inside Facebook way back in 2012. They were trying to fix these exact problems for their mobile app, which, had to be super fast and efficient. Then in 2015, they open sourced it, gave it to the world, and it has just taken off from there. Okay, so if you remember one thing, let it be this. The huge difference here is all about who's in control. With a REST API, the server is the boss. It decides what data you get. But with GraphQL, the power flips. You, the client, the app, get to tell the server exactly what you want, right down to the specific little details. All right, so we get the why now. Let's dig into the how. What makes GraphQL so special? Well, it really comes down to 3 core features. You could almost call them superpowers. Okay, superpower number 1, and this is the big one. You ask for what you want, and you get exactly that. Nothing more, nothing less. This is the direct solution to that whole overfetching headache we were just talking about. No more getting the entire burger combo when all you really wanted was the cheese. And this right here, it just shows you how much more efficient it is. Remember that clunky process of hitting one API for the user's name and then a totally different one for their posts? Well, with GraphQL, forget all that. You write one single beautiful query that asks for both of those things at the same time. One trip to the server, one perfect response with exactly what you need. That's it. All right, on to superpower number 2. And this one is a game changer for developers. I mean, just imagine trying to keep track of dozens, maybe even hundreds of different API endpoints for every little thing you want to do. It's a mess. GraphQL says, let's not do that. Yep, 1. That's it. For a typical GraphQL API, you have a single endpoint. All the magic, every single request for every piece of data you could ever want, it all goes through that one single door. It's just an incredibly clean and simple way to work. And that brings us to superpower number 3. This is kind of the secret sauce that holds the whole system together and makes it so reliable. It's called the schema, and you can think of it as the official rulebook for the entire API. So what is a schema? Well, it's like a blueprint. It describes every single piece of data you could possibly ask for. It tells you what kind of data it is it text, a number, and crucially, how all those different pieces of data are connected to each other. Going back to our analogy, it's literally the menu for the buffet. It tells you everything that's available. And this leads to a really powerful idea. The schema acts as a contract. It's this unbreakable agreement between the front-end team, the people building what you see, and the back-end team, the people managing the data. If a developer tries to ask for something that doesn't exist, something that's not on the menu, the system just says, nope, right away. This prevents so many bugs before they ever have a chance to happen. Okay, so we've talked about what it is and how it works, but let's get to the bottom line.
Why does any of this actually matter? What's the real-world payoff for picking the buffet over the set menu?
Well, it really boils down to 4 huge benefits. First, it's just way more efficient. You're not wasting bandwidth on data you don't need, which makes apps feel faster. Second, development gets faster. Front-end teams don't have to sit around waiting for the back-end team to build a new endpoint for them. Third, you get fewer errors. That schema contract we talked about catches bugs super early. And finally, all of this adds up to the one thing that matters most, a much better, snappier experience for the person actually using the app. So, as GraphQL gets more and more popular, it kind of leaves us with this big question. Now, don't get me wrong, traditional REST APIs aren't going away tomorrow, but you really have to wonder, in a world that's all about speed, efficiency, and flexibility, are the days of the set menu numbered? I guess only